Hello everybody and welcome to another Warframe news video. We've got a lot to go over today, so let's get into it. First off, we have the Knights of Naberus that just started. This is Warframe's Halloween event. This is up for the rest of the month. We will go and check out this loot a little bit later after I cover a couple of other updates, but basically you visit Daughter and the Necrolisk in order to get event items, and to get the event items you're just going to hand in the tokens you get from doing bounties on Deimos. Moving on, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and as such, we do have a bunch of Warframe things going on for that. First of all, we've got these 3 lovely alerts for the Conqueror floofs. These are up for the rest of the month as well, so there is no rush to get them. And then moving over to the marketplace, if we go down to where it says here community event, we have a lot of items from the previous year's Conqueror items that you can get for 1 credit. So as you can see, you can get all of these items for just 1 credit. So I definitely encourage you to check this out because there's some armor pieces, there's a lot of glyphs. You know, we've got these Drifter and Operator inks. I think it might just be Drifter actually. We've got displays, we've got emblems, even more glyphs and sigils, and all of this is really great and goes to support the community, of course. Moving on to our next piece of Warframe news, if you log into the game between October 15th and 21st, you will receive a free normal Oberon to your inbox. Now, I already have Oberon and Oberon Prime, but if you don't have Oberon, this is great, especially for new players who might not have a lot of Warframes, or if you had vendor doors, you could put this one into the helmet. Also, you will receive a built forma in the inbox message as well to help everyone fine-tune their Oberon builds, or if you're using it in something other than Oberon, there it is. And then we're going to get some information about the rework. I'm not going to watch this in here because we have a lot to cover today, but we are just going to go over these changes. So he is getting an armor buff. It says his passive is getting a new update. It was the survivability of companions, and now picking up a health orb or universal orb generates a righteous negation charge for Oberon and allies within the affinity radius. Oberon and his allies each have individual caps of 3 righteous negation charges. And then new effect, righteous negation. If a player has a righteous negation charge, they are invulnerable to incoming damage. When incoming damage is blocked, 1 righteous negation charge is expended. If a player has multiple righteous negation charges, they will remain invulnerable and receive a 0.25 second cooldown before an additional charge can be depleted. If the damage removes their final charge, players will be granted 0.25 seconds of invulnerability. And it says players can now identify how many righteous negation charges they have via the buff indicator in the HUD, or by counting the number of floating shields that circle them. So the number of shields you got, that's how many charges you have. And then let's see ability 1, Smite. Smite is a fairly straightforward ability that can be modded for maximum efficiency in a single target. They wanted to elevate its strength as a single target ability. Smite's target is now completely stripped of Overguard and armor and loses 35% of its current health, specifically health and shields, in an instant. Enemies within 6 meters of the target receive 50% of the damage dealt and are impacted by a stagger. If Smite is cast into a tight group of enemies, Xmas units will be prioritized as the target. Its infusion augment is unchanged. Ability 2, Hallowed Ground. It's now a full circle. That's nice. Before it was like a rectangle. Ability range increases its radius instead of the arc. Also increase the height of Hallowed Ground to affect both flying enemies and double jumping allies. Due to the increased size of the Hallowed Ground, we reduce the maximum number of Hallowed Ground from 4 to 3. Nullifiers cannot destroy it anymore. Radiation damage from it now gives guaranteed radiation status effects on enemies. Renewal healing is doubled while standing on it. Remove the armor stripping from enemies that survive Reckoning, and the status effect cleansing and immunity is unchanged for Oberon and his allies. And then Hallowed Eruption Augment, increased Hallowed Ground duration from 100% to 200%. Ability 3 for renewal, it says it's often compared to Wisp's Reservoirs, so they want to amplify and simplify it. So they removed the increased energy cost per target. Renewal range is now Oberon's affinity range. Players affected by it get the Iron Renewal buff, which increases their armor by 50% for the player who cast it and 100% for allies. It no longer stacks with other renewals, and they updated the visual effects of it. And then the Augment reduces the cooldown by an additional 30 seconds. And then finally, we have the last ability, Reckoning. They wanted to increase the overall damage output. So now it only targets enemies in Oberon's line of sight. Increase the bonus damage to enemies affected by radiation status effects by 125 per stack of radiation. And then with the guaranteed status effects to those standing on hallowed ground, it should be easier to ensure that they receive bonus damage. Oberon receives 10 armor per enemy hit. Bonus armor is kept at 1,000. Doesn't scale. And then surviving enemies have 50% of their armor permanently removed. And then all enemies hit by Reckoning have a 50% chance of dropping a health orb upon death, regardless of whether they were killed by Reckoning or not. Reckoning no longer blinds enemies. Slightly increase the casting speed, and then the augment for this, the buff remains active after leaving the radius, and reduce the visual effects of the patches that spawn on the ground because they could be visually overwhelming. So that is everything with the Oberon changes. And again, if you log in between the 15th and the 21st of this month, October, you get a free Oberon and a free Forma. Moving on from Oberon, we do have the announcement of the Quest to Conquer Cancer 2025. So they're supporting the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation this year. And there's the different donation tier awards. So they unlock extra glyphs, a glyph display, a bird 3 floof, that's that bird in Sanctum Anatomica. There's going to be more displays, Forma. There's going to be a global double affinity weekend, and this is all once the donations reach that set amount. There's going to be Exilus adapters, Umbra Forma, Conqueror Uplift Cyandana, and Zephyr Conqueror skin. So that is this wonderful image here is going to be the new skin, which does look very nice. And then I'm assuming these blue wings are going to be the Cyandana because they're talking about Uplift. And then we do already talk about the floof alerts. Like I said, those returning items are in the market for 1 credit. There are also going to be some Twitch drops. There's different awards up for every week, and you can watch multiple streams. You do have to watch for at least 30 minutes in order to claim that. And then we'll check out the stream schedule in just a moment. And then there is some new merch. There's a little Stalker plushie, in-game Protector Stalker floof, and there's also a giveaway. And then we've got some information down here about the Princess Margaret Cancer Center and their mission. And let's see if we can get the stream schedule. So there is actually a lot going on here. Starting tomorrow on the 2nd. And there's ones pretty much every single week. And then the final streams will be on the 30th. And they've got all of the different links here to all of the different creators, so you can just click on them. It should also show on Twitch's rewards drop site as well. Moving on to the Knights of Naberus items this year. So I am at Daughter on Deimos, and there is the Naberus Ephemera Blueprint, one of my personal favorites for my Drifter because it releases bats. I love bats. They are spooky, they are amazing, and they help pollinate plants, and vampire bats help get rid of bugs as well. Then we've got a Dram Day of the Dead skin if you enjoy this weapon. There is a Basmu Day of the Dead skin. There's also a Basmu blueprint if you have not built this weapon before. There is a Seti Lacera blueprint. There is a ballroom simulacrum. It's another style for your simulacrum instead of just the plain basic one. There is a stink eye Naberus glyph, very spooky and cool. There is a rotting Naberus glyph, also spooky and cool. There is a grape skull Naberus glyph, spooky and cool and purple. We've got a Hallows Eve palette. If you don't have a lot of color palettes, I 100% recommend that you get these color palettes, and I do love the yellow from this for gold on Warframes. There is a Day of the Dead Necromech skin, very fashionable. We've got a Grim Naberus sigil. Try saying that 10 times fast. We've got a Noggle statue of the Stalker. There is a Whispering Naberus mobile with a spooky hand. We've got a Spinneret ephemera, which may be something you'd like to put on Araxia if you have her. We've got a Nyctalis ephemera if you would like to have some cool bat demon wings. We've got a Sheev blueprint if you haven't made this weapon. There is a Revenant Vanya helmet. Now this does rotate through the Nightwave store as well, so I would probably prioritize getting other items for right now, but if you'd like to get this here in Naberus, you can get that too. There is a Keratos Sugatra. Sugatras are the little things that are on the end of melee weapons. There is a Revenant in Action glyph. There are haunted interior decorations. I have these up year-round in my orbiter because being spooky is love and life, and Halloween is a permanent year-round holiday. We've got a wonderful Jack O'Naught statue. Here are the items for crafting the sheave. I may actually pick those up because I'm missing a couple of them. There is a Gamma Core Day of the Dead skin. There is a Lua Knight's glyph. Very cool with a little witchy lotus and her cat, the Kavat. Cats are love and life as well. We've got a Frightening Flock emblem. There is a Taunting Tam emblem. There's a Hounding Kubro sigil. There's a Somber Stalker sigil. There's an Arlo's Flame decoration. We've got a Noggle statue of Arlo. A Noggle statue of a male devotee. A Noggle statue of a female devotee. There is a mod called Vile Discharge for the Embolist. Damage is accumulated up to 30,000. Use Alt Fire to launch an explosive Vile Sack, dealing and resetting the accumulated damage. This is pretty good. We've also got Sentient Surge. This is a very popular mod, and I recommend you get it. Even if you don't want to use it, you could always save it and sell it later in the year. This is for the OcuCore, and then each target eliminated refills 20% of OcuCore's magazine. Status chance and critical chance are increased by 60% for each 10 alive, so it's a pretty good buff for it. We've also got a Dagoth emblem, a Dagoth Prinz glyph. There is a Dagoth Accuser glyph. We've got a Daughter Naberus glyph, a Harrow Conjuring glyph. We've got a Zaku Spellcast glyph. There is an Ignis Day of the Dead skin. There is a Wild Hunt totem. There is a Yukar Claw skin, a biotic look for claw weapons, very cool. We've got a Saturn 6 Day of the Dead shoulder plates, Saturn 6 Day of the Dead chest plate, Saturn 6 Day of the Dead knee plates, Saturn 6 Day of the Dead Sandana. There is a Shroud of Dinar sigil. There is an Araxia in Action glyph. We've got a Mistress of Fear poster. This is personally very amazing and very spooky. I love it a whole lot, and I'm definitely going to get one. And there's also a Lacera Scorn skin. And these items are up for the next 32 days and 15 hours as of the time that I recorded this. So plenty of time. And these mother tokens you just get from doing bounties. And here quickly, I'm going to show you the amount you get from bounties, just so you'll be reassured that you can get all the items you want. So when you look at bounties, obviously we're looking at probably the high level one, unless you really want to go do Steel Path, but honestly I would just do the normal one to kill stuff faster, because the difference is only 19 tokens. So you can do core samples. It gives you 131 tokens every time you do this one. It's a level 40 to 60 bounty, and some kind of bounty that awards 131 is always going to be up. And this is actually one of my primary sources of getting Aya, actually, because as you see, you can only get Endo, Aya Tan Stars, Kuva, Aya, a Zaku part, or a Colossus Blueprint. So most of the time when I'm doing this bounty, I get usually like 2 to 3 Aya. If I'm really unlucky, maybe I'll only get 1. But this is a really great way of accumulating Aya in case you have a Volted Relic Soul you'd like to get, or if you'd like any cosmetics off the Aya trader. So that brings us to the end of this video. I hope that the information in this video helped you, and as always, thanks for watching, stay spooky, and I'll see you in the next video.